All right, welcome back to another episode of the Pin High Podcast presented by Pin High Media. It's doomsday in the world of golf, or not. Maybe it's not the doomsday. Maybe it's a good thing for golf. We'll discuss PGA and the LIV merger. Let's get into it.
This is Jordan Spieth here, and
this is the Pin High Podcast.
All right, let's get inside the ropes to start the week. Like I just said in the intro, take it how you will. It's either doomsday for some. It's a great day to celebrate for others, like Taylor Gooch sipping his margaritas by the pool in what looks to be Cancun or something like that. Wish I was him right now, but I don't know. Where do we start here?
I mean, yeah, crazy day. So about what we say, 10 a.m. Eastern.
I'd say 10:15.
yeah, right around 10.
Yeah, what
10,
was it?
15.
Like a CNBC article drops, and then all of a sudden Jay Monahan's just sitting on CNBC with what's the
First of
guy's
all,
name from Live?
I thought the article was fake. Like I was like, this isn't real.
No,
Right.
when I clicked on, because Scotty sent it in our group chat, I was just like,
Yeah,
I think this reporter got duped. Like, there's no
no
way
way.
this is true. Like, maybe there's some sort of news, but like, this isn't true. And then I started seeing like Big Cat say something about it. I saw like a golfer say something about it. I was like,
I think the first one I saw was it was like Morikawa saying like I love seeing my news on Twitter in the morning. And like, this is
Yeah.
it kind of started to hit.
So
was like,
if you've
whoa.
been living under a rock, PGA Tour, DP World Tour, and the PIF, which is the private investment fund for Live Golf, pretty much the Saudi Arabian fund that funds all of their sports and whatnot, have agreed to merge, kind of. So basically, they're all joining in a for-profit LLC, and all litigation that they've had against each other is being dropped, and they are forming a alliance slash partnership slash I don't even know. They're all just coming in together and finally cooperating with each other.
And I guess one thing to take away at the very beginning before we get into the rest is that there is no, like, when they've been saying PGA Tour, DP World Tour, and the PIF, Private Investment Fund. They have not used the term Live Golf. So one might presume that Live Golf as we know it is donezo.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Live. Obviously, there's no details yet on this.
I'm
Like
sure the
they
rest of the season
basically
still
just brought
plays
it
out.
in. I mean, yes, the rest of the Live season will play out. The
Honestly, who
rest of the
knows?
PGA Tour season will probably still play out. But yeah, no mention of Greg Norman at all either, which is like I think Greg
Yep.
Norman's fully out of this. That was probably a stipulation that Jay Monahan negotiated when they were doing this. But yeah, no Greg Norman. Live Golf wasn't mentioned, but the Public Investment Fund does own Live Golf basically. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
basically some people are saying, oh yeah, Saudi Arabia is just buying the PGA Tour, which not necessarily. I mean, let's get this straight. The PGA Tour will still have all voting rights on everything. It still sanctions its own events. Um, basically, no one from the PIF could do anything without the PGA Tour voting on it. So they really can't change much.
Which, by the way, I heard a quote. Apparently, the guy in charge of PIF, or I think it was the person. He just told Greg Norman to turn on CNBC. Like that's how he broke the news to Greg Norman, or that's how Greg Norman found out apparently. Um, but yeah, I like Live doesn't seem like it's a thing anymore. It's kind of weird to think about. Um, I don't even like know where to go from. Like okay, do the rest of the Live events matter? Or like it makes them matter even less, in my opinion, just because it's not even going to be a thing next year. It sounds like. Uh, who knows what this thing next year is going to be like? It's like it's going to be totally different. It sounds like from the PGA Tour, it's not going to. Apparently, it might not be the PGA Tour. I don't know. Very it also feels very early, and we have no idea what's going to come next. Like this is all just blind reactions basically, and what we've seen, and then from there, it's this whole dominoes thing where we're going to talk every week about something else falling, and
Just like when
oh,
LIV
so and
Golf
so
started.
is, yeah, exactly. Like it feels like deja vu almost, just going through this whole thing over and
Right.
over again.
Yeah, I feel like this morning when the news hit, it was just kind of like it felt the exact same way as when like that original list dropped of guys that were committed to LIV, where it's just kind of like, oh, so like this is actually happening. Because before that, there had been murmurs that like it was picking up some steam, and you know, not that we really thought that the PGA Tour and LIV were gonna um, merge in any way. We did think like, you know, it was possible eventually, or we thought like something was gonna have to to happen. Like, like at the end of the day, like something was gonna happen where the PGA Tour ran out of like just ran out of leeway with guys leaving, and
I mean,
I
yeah,
don't know where.
maybe it was a money thing. I'm gonna assume it was a money thing just based on how this goes. I'm gonna guess that the PGA Tour probably had a tough time coming out of COVID with the money. They're obviously trying to put on these big events. They made the purses even bigger without really any new investment, um, just to compete with golf and what they're paying out. And I think it just got to a point and where also one other thing to mention is all this money that they spend on legal fees just against Live Golf. But yeah, I think it just got to a point where it's like we're burning money right now, basically. And we're probably not in as good of a spot financially as we tend to lead on. And this whole, merging with the PIF is basically giving us unlimited money for the future.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that along with the fact that like the ratings of the PGA were down, which is not a good sign, even with all the live guys there. But if the ratings for that are down, that means I'm sure the ratings are down for a lot of other PGA Tour events, and like that's a lot of that has to do with no Dustin Johnson, no Cam Smith, no Brooks, no Reed. Um, so I think the like in the end, I guess Live did more to hurt the PGA Tour than Live did to help itself. If that makes sense, because even Live was didn't mean anything, and no one's really going out of their way to watch Live. It wasn't a big like from our eyes, it wasn't like all right, like it's just the PGA Tour is going to go on as normal, but it seemed like slowly Live was sucking away the PGA Tour's luster, and maybe the PGA Tour said, you know what, we need our guys back. We need more money, like you said. Like they're like COVID, they spent all this money on purses, and even though we've said that they should do this for years now or years before they did, it kind of I guess it forced Jay Monahan's hand and like he's a winner in all this just because of like the money and everything, and the tour is a winner in all this, but like he's gonna get criticized heavily for all the 9/11 stuff and
Yeah.
everything else. Like the players, like I can imagine, just are so pissed off, and like, who knows what was said in that players meeting, and uh, it'll be interesting to hear some stories from that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard they had a players meeting today, 4 p.m. Eastern, at the RBC Canadian Open, and heard it didn't go great. I mean, they didn't get really any information on anything coming from Twitter and whatever else I've been reading and watching the Golf Channel. Didn't really get any more like new information, and I think some guys are calling for Jay Monahan's head. I think they want him out. I'm not sure if he's gonna last through this. He probably will because he's seemed to last through everything. But yeah, the players are calling for his head. Contentious meeting. Um, he didn't. Nobody knew about this coming in today. So apparently they've been negotiating for 7 weeks. Only two guys from the PGA Tour, plus Jay Monahan, and then like a couple guys from like the Saudi investment, whatever fund, uh, were negotiating, and no one else knew. And then everybody else was, like you said earlier, was finding this out on Twitter, like we were, all at the same time. They probably like some of the PGA Tour players probably know as much as we do, at the moment, which is kind of crazy to think about.
That's insane. And no one just even Jay just didn't even say like to the even just Rory, like whoever the head of the players union. I don't think it's a union, but like whoever's the head of that, just not even mention, like say like, hey, we're gonna come out with this, like tell like as many people as you can in the next like hour, something like that. Like tell like
Not
as
even
many
an
like your
hour.
friends. Like I don't know. Like I'm just making an example. Like they clearly wanted to keep it under wraps as much as possible, but like it seems it almost seems like Jay didn't even want. I don't
He didn't
know.
want to face anybody. Like
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He
knows
didn't exactly.
he knows exactly what he did, and he knows exactly what he said in the past, and he knows that he's going to get a lot of flack for it, and that's just kind of the way it's going to be for him.
Yeah, I mean, just shifting it to the players we kind of just did. I mean, how would you feel if you were Hideki Matsuyama or Rory or Ricky Fowler or one of these guys that was rumored to get, a ton of money to go play for Liv, and basically a year later, these guys who went and took the money to go play Liv kind of have no consequence coming back to the PGA Tour. Like,
So
basically, you took so much money out of those guys' pockets.
something I've thought about and I've seen on Twitter is that there's no way that with all this new money especially that certain guys don't get taken care of that stayed. Like
You would
Yeah.
have to think. I mean, this is, I said this earlier in the group chat.
Rory.
Unlimited money glitch. The PGA Tour just unlocked. So
Yeah.
there is unlimited money here now to the point where, Hideki should get his whatever he was like rumored to get. Rory should get his piece just for basically being the mule for the PGA Tour the last year. So, I mean, yeah, these guys should probably be getting some money under the table, but I don't know if they will or not.
I think
And
that's
we may never know.
not the only
I guess
way that Jay Monahan sticks around, but that's got to be one of the ways you'd think he would if
yeah,
stay in the players' favor
exact. I
or
totally
players that
agree.
matter.
Yes. I think for a lot of the other guys that even like the mid-level guys that like yeah they could have gone to live, I guess, but at the same time like if someone wasn't considering live, like this is and like you're like I guess you're backing a tourist, you're pissed about that, but like you're gonna get more money than you ever thought you would. Like that's the only winner on the player side is the pockets, but then uh it goes back to like all right, morally like Rory's got to be pissed. Like no one's heard from him, it sounds like. um I thought Benon's tweet, I don't know if one of you guys sent it earlier, about Hideki saying he could buy Spirit Airlines instead of flying home in Spirit Airlines their day it was very funny. Um, it's you're right, Pat. Like it seems like the only way to stay in the player's favor is to compensate them for basically all the advocating they did for the tour. And then in the meantime, what do you do with the live guys coming in? Do you find them, and like how much do you find them to make it significant compared to their what they made on live? And like do you suspend them? Do you say like, hey, you can't like they're going to play in the majors still because the majors are separate? Like what is that like? What's it going to look like when the Brooks comes back to Riviera? Like, is he even going to be able to play in that? Like what? Like I don't even know
Will they
what the
want
next
to
step
play
is
in
from
that?
there.
I mean, we don't really know what's going on with Liv. If Liv is just gonna be a thing or not, would they like say Liv just like still exists? Maybe it replaces the old WGC or whatever, and Liv just still exists. There's not really any incentive for a guy like Brooks to just go play PGA Tour events week in week out. Like he went to Live for a reason to play less events. He already got paid a lot of money. He gets to play in the majors.
There'd probably be
Assuming maybe world
minimum.
ranking points come into Live, like some of these guys might not even want to go back to the PGA Tour if Live is still a thing. I mean, who knows?
That I think the whole point of like PIF, like another point of PIF not including and live not being included on this deal is because there's no world ranking points. Like it's not going to be viable for
It's not a
another
legitimate
however many
league.
years.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you could say
that's
Live
why I don't think it's
wasn't
going to happen per
Live
se.
wasn't a part of this deal because PIF owns Live. Like PIF just is Live basically. So I don't know. We'll see
Well,
what
yes,
happens.
PIF is live, but PIF can clearly like from what we've seen, they can fund anything they want to. Like Live, if Live is not like Live was not a viable business option, and we always knew it was because it was losing money, it's coming from an endless money source, and now and now they don't need to have Live to like they basically got what they wanted. They got the golf world in the palm of their hands now, basically paying for all these stars to play on. Like it won't be their tour, but like it'll be under their wing, and like it'll be like it's what they wanted in the end.
Yeah, I
I
mean, we'll
mean,
have to see. I like there's still that whole $2 billion offer from Nike going in to get swoosh or
Yeah,
so that was literally
Smash
the
GC
first.
to
that's
change the
crazy.
swoosh
Like
GC.
I did not believe that when I
So
saw it.
that makes me think that Live is still an option. It's still something that's on the table. There's still going to be a team aspect at some point. Maybe not week in, week out, but there might be a little secondary thing going on where there is something
Surprisingly,
like
that
that.
was the first thing that came to mind for me was that when I was reading the press release, I was like, they mentioned that the team format is still in play. Like the team format was specifically mentioned in the press release. First thing that came to my mind was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense if maybe like they knew that this was going
This
on.
was
I don't know
going
if they
down,
did,
but because
but if they
nobody else
did,
did.
that's the only reason why it would make sense because we were talking about it just last week on the podcast. We were like, there's no reason why they would want to buy a live golf team for $2 billion. But if it's now this super league of all of these tours
Players,
together, yeah, I'd say a swoosh GC with Brooks Koepka, Jason Day,
Rory.
Rory, and Fleetwood. Yeah, that's probably worth $2 billion potentially,
Probably, I
depending
mean,
on how the format
if
is.
if they're talking about Brooks, Chase, Matt Wolf is even on the team anymore, I guess. Brooks, Chase, and Jason Kokrak is $2 billion. Like I can only imagine what adding
Yeah,
Rory
what if you get
and
team manager
other
Tiger
actual players
involved,
to
right?
yeah, like well, like and Tyre didn't even know about this either. Like
No one did.
it's like what if like I mean the team aspect we talked about before too. We would love the like I would love to incorporate more team events, but like not but like you kind of fight that line because the Zurich is so bad, if you want to say that. Like include the match play, include the like how like make it like you could go to the Memorial last week and Victor might win the individual, but then Team Swoosh might win the team event, and like that makes better content on Sunday at least. Like you're watching you see more shots from other players, and like so
And I
that'll be
think
a
the
lot of fun.
betting markets and how
Yeah,
prevalent that is, like people will like will buy into that because I know at Live Golf we said it didn't work because it kind of didn't because it's just a weird. I don't know why we didn't think it worked there, but we're now saying like it could work on the PGA Tour, but
well,
like
it
there's
didn't mean anything to live. That's why.
There's
yeah,
yeah,
I
there's
guess on the
nothing
PGA
there's
Tour it
nothing
works.
behind
You're
it. There's no
absolutely
pedigree, I guess, which
yes,
they would have had to
there's no
build.
history or something to play for, um, but they can incorporate this in like actual tournaments that have
so
already.
I guess that's the answer to that then. But you know, they started doing PGA Tour Live on Thursday and Friday mornings because like people were betting on like featured groups and stuff, and like that's just like the reality. Like people are interested and people are going to bet, and people will probably buy into the team market if there's that involved too.
Yeah, I it'll be very interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe,
for sure.
yeah,
And before we get into like, some positives, because there's a ton of positives for us as fans, one more
yeah.
negative. So we did trash on Live Golf a lot over the past year or two. But I wouldn't say today is Live winning. Like all these Live accounts on Twitter are like celebrating
No,
like it's like
Mhm.
their day that they
Liv's going
won
away.
this whole thing. It's like I I mean, like, I really don't think it's, like, that much of a win. I think it's just kinda like it's a win for everybody, I guess.
I agree. Like Liv's like these Live bots are saying like, oh, it's a great day for Live. Like Liv's going away. Like you're not gonna have a thing. You're not gonna have a Twitter account if
They haven't
that's your
posted
whole
today.
point.
They haven't
Yeah,
posted.
like
That's telling.
it's I like I think we even when this first started and this whole thing um first happened and like DJ and all these guys went to Live and Bryson and we're like like could this like is this good for golf? Like the question was asked like all over like for weeks. And like maybe in the end, like maybe this like and we I think we talked about it like maybe in the end this will end up being good for golf. And like the whole moral put the whole moral thing aside, like I know it's very like you can everyone to each their own on like whether to support or not. But like if like we're golf fans, we're going to watch probably no matter what. Like we hate to say it, but
100%.
it's still like in the end, like this might be really good for golf because it might bring all the best players back. They might play more meaningful tournaments, and they're all gonna be playing the same fields like they have been on the PGA Tour, playing for more money, which they always wanted to play for. Um, and like it might be and like they unify the golf landscape again. So it's like in the end it fractured, but then it came back together. And no, Live Golf did not win because it's. I saw some people. Someone was saying like why would Live Golf go away? Like, why would they spend all this money on branding and uh sponsorships if just to eradicate the tour? Like well, it's like because it was failing. It wasn't making money, and it wasn't like they're coming
they
from a
didn't
bottomless
create it
pit.
they didn't create it to make money in the first place,
No,
obviously,
they
which
created a sports wash.
exactly. And I mean,
But
yeah,
also, this could have been the
Liv did
plan.
some good things. I mean,
Yeah,
Liv basically got the PGA Tour to up their money on every like event, basically, and now it's just gonna go even further with the PIF investing into this PGA Tour. Like the purses for these events are gonna be massive in the coming
insane.
years, and that's what we wanted for golf. For the future. Now the money might not be coming from the cleanest spot, but the players definitely are taking advantage of this whole live this PGA Tour that.
You want to stay a little woke. I feel like people were um, saying like the PGA Tour is turning to live when they announced the elevated events are going to be like 80 person fields with no
No cut. Yeah.
cuts. Maybe this was the plan for Jay for a little bit of time here. Just
I mean,
putting on the
Might have been.
tinfoil
if
hat.
this was the plan for Jay, he did a really really good job of keeping it under wraps.
And
Especially
all
if
he cares about is
they
money
take the
left.
they take the
That's it.
clip from a year ago saying like he'll never be like a part of live, he'll never let them back, whatever,
Yeah.
all that stuff, and then all of a sudden today there he's like sitting there like buddy buddy with the head of the PIF. So it's interesting times.
I
Yeah,
mean, we could be looking at 10 years from now, and the PGA Tour is the best it's ever been. And it's only getting better.
Right.
And this can be a like weird 2 year period or weird year period where like I don't know, it was almost like a civil war of sorts. And then now it all comes together and makes it that much better.
I
Like
mean
we forget about all this, I guess, at some point.
that's what Jay Monahan said. He was like, I don't want people to like gauge this off of what's happening today and this year. It's like when people look back in 10 years, like he thinks that, people will think this was a great thing for the game of golf and that golf is
Yeah.
like will have evolved like a lot by then, which is, you
Yeah.
know, which is kind of like what you have to put into perspective because short term, yeah, it's going to kind of suck for the Wesley Bryans of the world. But guess what? Like you're a
Play
mid-tier player,
better.
and like that's like nobody's gonna care about the fact that this kind of screws you over
Hmm.
past like the next week or month or two.
I
People
mean,
are gonna be like,
people don't come to watch
It doesn't
Wesley
even
Bryan.
really
no,
no.
that's just a harsh
Even
reality.
even if he does have a tick on the bag at U.S. Open qualifying,
Hmm.
uh, like even him, like it's like yeah, he might be pissed about it now, but like in the future, he's gonna be happy. He's gonna have that much more money if he does play better. If he keeps this, if let's say he keeps the same standing on the PGA Tour, and I don't know where it is in the FedEx Cup or anything like that, but like he'll be making a lot more money in 2 years if he keeps the same standing.
Right. Keeps his
That's just a
card.
fact.
Let's talk about the positives.
Yeah.
Because like this is gonna be cool because we're gonna get, you know, Dustin Johnson, Cam Smith, Patrick Reed, Brooks, everybody, Joaquin Neiman, Mito Pereira, like Bryson. We're gonna get everybody back playing in the same tournament. So every tournament at the beginning, at least, is gonna feel like a major because it's gonna be like, wow, this field is insane.
Yeah, I would hope. I mean, again, we have no idea how this format is going to work. Like, are elevated events still going to be a thing? Or elevated events now gone and every event's now just like worth a ton? I don't know. So, I mean, we'll have to see what it's like. I mean, we don't know any details. Honestly, I don't even think Jay knows the details of this. Like, I think he just kind of like took the money in and is like, all right, we'll figure out the details later because it's kind of what it sounded like this morning.
To be figured out.
They have to hash out a ton.
It seems like they're kind of just like in agreement, and like there's still just a ton of like logistics to air out.
But you're right; it is good for the game. Like how awesome were the majors this year? Like every time the major came around, you got all your guys back. Like it was great. And even watching U.S. Open qualifying yesterday, like why the hell was Sebastian Munoz, like why did he have to qualify for the U.S. Open? Like he won on the PGA Tour like last year, and then all of a sudden he lost all of his ranking points by going to LIV. So like you get those guys back too, where it's like, why did they have to qualify for the majors? They should be qualified already. So I don't know. I just want my best players at the majors.
Yeah, you get the best players at the majors back because they'll be on the PGA Tour. I mean, even really good players to qualify for the U.S. Open just because the qualifications are so weird for that. But like the fans, I think, win the most out of all this, just because you said we get all the players back, we get the guys we only get to see 4 times a year now at Riviera, at Torrey Pines, at Waste Management. Playing together again, and now,
yeah, like,
who? Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, another thing that I'm surprised no one's even mentioning this yet. Like, what about like the media rights? Like, I think the media rights are going to start to become like a little more relaxed now that they have money pumping into this thing. They don't need the money just from the media. Like, that's the whole reason that Phil kind of left in the first place. It was like he wanted his own media rights. He wanted to be able to post his like swing on Instagram or Twitter. And I think like if they're going to be pumping billions of dollars into this from the PIF, like I think the PGA Tour might loosen up a little bit on some of these media things where, you know, we could post a shot and it doesn't get taken down like 3 seconds after we post it.
That could be a game changer for a lot of media because like your feed's just going to be a lot better. I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have to come straight from the PGA Tour.
Think about a guy like Ben Griffin. Like he's like on he posts like his TikToks every week of like, oh, here's a day in the life of a PGA Tour professional. Like he seems like someone who would just benefit from being able to post like his shots on or like own his media rights. Like and that like he would benefit greatly from that. Like even Max Homa, like who like he's come up through Twitter obviously and everything like that. But if he was able to like own media rights and everything like that, it would be. I don't know. It might turn Rory into one of the like he's already one of the most famous athletes in the world. He might take him to another level on that scale as well.
And this is money going into their pockets now. This is now money that like Rory posts his highlights, gets a bunch of clicks. This money is going straight into his pocket. It's like it's good for the players and it's good for the fans because we get all this new content.
It does probably open up a lot of opportunity for, like, obviously brands have, you know, social media teams, but I mean, not that players don't already kind of have social media teams in a sense, but like way more prevalent now.
Yeah, and if they have the team aspect, they'll be able to go through that as well. Which would be great. My question is, or my thought, something I thought earlier, what happens to the majors? Because this is all for the PGA Tour. Like what?
So
like USGA is separate, Masters is separate, PGA Championship is separate. Like what? Like, and we're talking about media rights, and like maybe that turns into less commercials and less interruptions on Golf Channel if we're watching on a Thursday afternoon or even a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
yeah, and all the
I don't know what happens after that.
All the like organizations came out with statements today, and basically all of them were like, "Yeah, we want like this is great for the game. Like, we don't want a divided game. Da 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 da. Like Fred Ridley from the Masters from Augusta was saying this basically the same thing. Like this is good for golf. Like we hated the last year being a divided game. So yeah, you want your best players in the world playing at the majors, and I think ultimately this does that.
No, like obviously they're going to be there. I guess the question I was like thinking of was like, all right, what happens if like even just like the commercial load and the sponsors, like does PIF affect those too, or like will they like want to help out with those, or will the majors even accept those? Like will the
I don't know.
Masters accept money from Saudi Arabia? And like, granted, that they're their own thing, and like they can do whatever they want, and like that's like they don't have as many commercials or whatnot. But like, what happens to the U.S. Open? Remember, we were watching the U.S. Open, and we were like, what a debacle it was with like even the commercial load and um, stuff like that. Like, what happens with those events that aren't PGA Tour owned? Like, it'll
Yeah,
be
I don't
That's
know.
good.
I mean,
interesting to see.
I think at the end of the day, you're never gonna lose commercials. Like commercials are just not gonna go away because that's even
No, they're
more
not
money
going to
to
go
put into the
away, but
pockets.
like,
But maybe, yeah, you're right. Maybe at the end, like final round on a Sunday, like there's just like less commercials and you notice it. But I don't know. Like the sponsors are gonna keep coming in. The PGA Tour has some great sponsors. Like all the majors have really good sponsors. I think that do pay a lot of money for it. And I think just like the bigger the game grows, the more the sponsors are
they
gonna
might,
want it in. Live
yeah,
had a
that
tough time getting
they
sponsors, and
might
that's
not
why they
want
had
any
no
more.
commercials. So nobody wanted to
Yeah,
sponsor Live, and I think that's part of the reason why they were willing to negotiate as well.
that's
They had
fair.
a tough time getting sponsors. They were making no money off of their product. They're just putting money in and getting no money out. Now it's like, okay, we're putting money into something, and we're also going to get money out of it. So it's going to be a profit now.
Hmm. True.
Well, well.
Who else wins? Who else wins? Sorry.
I mean, like the top players.
Phil
I mean,
Mickelson,
yeah, I
like
guess
Phil's
Phil
kind of
wins.
back in the
Phil
mix
came out
now.
of this looking like really good, honestly. You see
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dylan Wu tweeted about Phil and was like I want to say like Phil is like looking so good through this, like he knew blah blah blah. It's like, all right, Dylan Wu, didn't really expect that out of you.
I mean,
Qualified for the US
he
Open
still said some
yesterday.
things for
Saying
sure.
this.
He still said some things that he probably wish he could take back at this point. But like Phil
Oh
knew what
yeah.
was going on. Like I think at the end of the day, he kind of knew this is what was going to happen. So yeah, good on him. I'm curious to see if this brings him back into like a Ryder Cup captain mix and some of the other live guys as well, or if that's just kind of
Yeah.
far past them.
What's gonna
We don't know.
what I heard Keith Pelley was talking about on Golf Channel today about how like as of right now, live like if you have to be a member of the DP World Tour to be eligible for the Ryder Cup, so like those live guys still aren't eligible, but it doesn't sound like future years are ruled out. If that's the case, if they're all back on the same tour, like maybe that makes it interesting. Maybe that changes Luke Donald because he has 6 captains picks. Maybe he will pick someone like I don't know who's playing well for. I guess Sergio, maybe Thomas Peters. Like who like is. It'll be interesting to see like who the captains picks are in that sense. Like it seems like the U.S. like Brooks is locked in, Ryder
Yeah.
Cup. After that, it sounds like Zach didn't really seem too open to taking live guys, but maybe he is now. Like I don't
I
know.
mean, yeah, and
It'll
just
be
the PGA
very
Tour guys are
interesting.
just so good and on the U.S. side anyway, so it's not
Yeah,
like you're picking
like he.
anyone worse.
Yeah, like if he doesn't pick DJ, like all right, I guess I'll have to go with Wyndham Clark who's playing sick, and like it doesn't it's it'll be very interesting to see what happens with that. Even like like honestly, the Presidents Cup won a lot today too because they get all their guys back. They get Joaquin, they get Mito, they get
Right.
Answer. Ton of those guys come back. That'll be very fun. That'll make those very
Ryder Cup will
much
be
more entertaining.
interesting.
Up in Scory territory next year up in
Oh yeah,
Canada.
is it?
Yeah.
Where is it at?
This is Montreal, right?
Montreal.
Oh,
I think so.
Club de something.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that one,
I know what you're talking
the
about, but
French one.
it's in
Yeah.
Montreal.
Yeah, it's Club de
Yeah.
something.
Club to
um,
Chapultepec.
oh my God, that's a deep cut, pin high term, not term. It's whatever. What even That was like the Mexico Open. It was
Yeah,
like
I
it's
think
like
that's
Yeah.
like the
right golf.
WGC,
the
Yeah.
Royal Montreal Golf Club. I'm sure there's a way that they say
Royal
it in French.
Montreal.
That's La Royale Montreal, but yeah.
Sure. Whatever.
Uh,
Royale with cheese. What else?
What was I
What
gonna
else here?
I mean, 2 years in a row now, the RBC Canadian Open gets like nothing because
yeah.
last year
Yeah.
it was everybody leaving and Jay suspending everybody. This year it's the merger.
RBC Canadians like, okay, I guess I'll just go jump off a bridge.
And everyone, like everyone
think
already
anybody
doesn't really.
WDs? You think anybody WDs this week because of the news?
I mean,
That's
maybe
what,
maybe
like
Rory.
I
Like
wouldn't
Rory
surprise.
Rory was
I
off
would
site
not be
today.
surprised.
Rory was off site today. I mean, he did join the meeting, I think, like virtually maybe, but he was off site today. I think like, the only reason Rory was playing in this event is just because like he's the face of the PGA Tour and they wanted him here. Now that this
Well,
is kind of like over with, he
he's
might
also warming
withdraw.
up for. He's also warming up for next week at
And
LACC
he's
too.
Yeah,
back to
but
back
like,
again.
yeah,
Yeah.
but then he has to come back to the East Coast and play the Travelers for an elevated event, which the scheduling is just terrible for that. But
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if someone withdrew just because. I don't know. Wesley Bryan seems very like maybe not him specifically, but he seems like someone's like all right, like if like I'm pissed off enough, maybe I will withdraw. But also he can't
but
afford.
he can't
to,
afford it. Yeah, he's
yeah,
just
he can't
not
afford
that
to withdraw.
good of a caliber player to like he doesn't.
No.
He got into this event as an alternate, so like, yeah.
I can see Billy
needs that.
Horschel starting Uprising if he's. I don't know if he's playing this week. He definitely be the one to be like yeah, I'm not playing well anyway. I shot 84 last week. Like
He was
screw
pretty
Jay
emotional
Monahan.
about that.
What?
He was pretty emotional about that 84.
He was. Which I respect him for that, and I don't like him that much, and I respect him for going out there the next day and playing. Unlike Mr. Fratelli that we saw.
That's your 90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, if you imagine if he withdrew, that'd be really funny.
Who?
But Fratelli.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think Fratelli's like the Ogletree of the PGA Tour right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, all these guys are gonna have to like reapply for membership at the end of the year too, which is gonna be interesting. You think they're gonna have to pay like a fine or something?
I'm sure they will. But again, like it's like if it's I don't know if it's like $100,000. It's like our Brooks is like all right here. Like I don't care. Like this not it might like they might have to, like it might be like scaled up in terms of all right, this is a percentage of your live paycheck or something. Like I like they're gonna have to do something because otherwise it might.
No,
And I'm sure that was brought up at the meeting today. Like if like the guys are gonna come back, like where like they can't just. A lot of the guys that are fringe are like freaking out, like hey, like these guys left. Like I was low to the tour. Like I was offered this. Like what are you gonna do to, like you can't like maybe they won't just say like oh all right a lump sum of cash isn't gonna do it for me. Like what
I mean,
what are
they
you gonna do to
merged.
punish these guys?
They merged. I don't think that there's going to be any punishment.
I guess.
I
don't know.
think
We'll
there
have
is.
to see.
I think there is
I think there might be
sort.
something. They might have. I
Yeah.
mean, whether it's a small fine just to like get their membership back, because they just like suspended all their memberships. But I don't know. We'll see. I think this just does grow the game globally as well, because like obviously the PIF's all in on the Asian tour as well, so it's just gonna grow that. It's gonna grow the DP World Tour. Like we said, is probably gonna get some marquee players playing in some of their events as well. So yeah, it's just gonna grow the game on a global scale as well.
Good for golf. Good for golf.
A lot going on. We're just at the start of this too. There's gonna be a lot.
I was saying before we recorded the podcast in New York right now, it's there's like smoke in the air from the Canadian wildfires, and it's just like dark here at like 6:30.
Pitch black.
And I was saying that it could be foreshadowing like the days ahead in the golf world. Who knows?
Days ahead of darkness, I guess.
Yeah. So who do we think is going to win the RBC?
Yeah, speaking of Canada, RBC Canadian Open this week, and yeah, no one cares.
I mean,
No.
the field is like it's all right.
Not bad. It's not bad at all, actually. There's a lot of guys
I wouldn't say
there
it's
this week.
great.
I mean, for what it is, the week before the U.S. Open, I don't mind the field at all. I mean, obviously there's a lot of RBC guys like on the PGA Tour that have to play in this event, so that sucks for them. But
I wonder if RBC will get back like Dustin Johnson and Graham McDowell.
I don't know.
Please
Do
don't
they
bring
need?
back
Do they
the
need the
DJ commercial,
sponsorships
though.
anymore? They don't
I
need the
don't know.
sponsorships anymore. They already got paid $100 or $200 million. Like,
True.
That's everything. Like
More
what? Like
money.
what?
Chump
Like do you think
change.
these guys? Yeah, that's true. That's true too.
Um,
Well, we didn't even talk. We didn't mention Victor. I guess I mentioned it briefly, but
Oh,
like
yeah, we didn't
Victor
really
winning
talk-
last week.
nice win last week.
Yeah.
Good for
Feel
good
bad
for
for
the
Denny,
pod.
but good for us.
Denny was grinding his ass off the whole day.
Yeah,
He
Denny
made
is
every single
a
putt.
short game guy.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of putts.
He's insane.
His long game is very underrated. He's never won on the PGA Tour, which I was surprised when I
It's crazy.
found that out.
I thought he would have won like a fall event.
Yeah, so what? So
I was gonna say I thought you could have told me he won the Butterfield Bermuda. I'd be like, all right, yeah, makes sense. Like that
I
just
feel
seems
like
like
he's only 30 years old too. I thought he was like way older than that.
really.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
I like him. He's been kind of like decent, like in like
been really
I think
good
we picked him a
past, like,
lot
year.
in the past. Yeah, like we picked him a lot,
Yeah.
like top 40s, and like
He's good.
he's playing really good.
Because he's
He's-
always leads the
um,
PGA
he's
Tour
like
in
the
strokes gained
best
putting
He's the best putter on tour. Yeah.
every year.
And he's playing at Memorial, like a big boy golf course, like not
Yeah.
someone
He's
for
doing it at big boy golf courses too. Like
Yeah.
Because his long game's not bad either. Like people always talk about his putting because it's always top of the leaderboard, but he actually has good like stats all around for the most part. So Denny's a guy to watch
I think he's
out for.
improved a lot. Long game. Oh, sorry, another person I want to mention, Scotty. His putting is so bad.
He needs to take some putting lessons with Denny. I mean, he's first
Problem.
in strokes gained tee to green, like in basically every tournament, and then his putting was like dead last in everybody who made the cut, and he finished like second.
I think he had the. He used to go in the honeymoon phase like multiple times, just switch putters every week.
Siwoo's using the like long putter now too, the Adam Scott putter. I mean, maybe Scotty just needs to go there as well. Siwoo's been putting a little bit better recently.
that'd be
I
a weird.
heard Scotty had the second best ball striking week of all time this past week, and he
didn't make a
like
putt outside of 5 feet, I think.
And I also heard from, I think he was from No Laying
That was
Up.
on day one.
Yeah, from No Laying Up, he said if he had Denny McCarthy's putting, he would have won by 18 shots.
Oh yeah, he's basically Tiger in his prime if he had good putting.
Yeah, like even if he had average putting, I think they said like he would have won by like 12 or something like that, like something outrageous. Even if he had made two more. Like all he do is make like even like below average, not like he was worse in the field. If he was below average, he would have won putting. Like that's we were on it too, saying like this is kind of
concerning
to monitor.
Yeah,
concerning. Like at the Masters, it was like this is weird. Like this is not doesn't really seem like him. And now it's kind of I feel like it kind of hit rock bottom though. Like so, like maybe it's on like gonna come back up again, but. Like if all he has to do is have a decent putting week, and it's like Morikawa. Like all he has to do is have a decent putting week, and then he's gonna win.
He like wins in spite of it too. Sometimes like he'll just win without having a good putting week. It's crazy. But yeah, we should probably move our attention to the RBC Canadian and try to get a pick in here. I know we were talking yesterday about who we were gonna pick. Hatton was a name that stuck out a couple times. It's just a matter of if we want to save him for later. And then, Matt Fitzpatrick was another name that Pat mentioned, and then Justin Rose. Again, I'm fine with any of those guys, but curious what you guys think.
I think that Justin Rose is a very good option given where we want to pick guys later. But that being said, it kind of opened my eyes to the fact that we do have a decent amount of guys left.
Yes, we do.
Who do we have as big left again? Could you repeat it? Because I always forget.
I don't know. I sent
Jordan.
you.
We have Max Homa. We have Hatton. I'm doing this off the top of my head.
Xander.
Xander. And there's only like, there's not that many tournaments left. There's like less than 10, or like there's like 10 or less.
Yeah, it's just a matter, like when we get to the FedEx Cup, when they narrow down guys, we have to make sure we have guys like in the top 30. Matt Fitzpatrick, we have Shane Lowry. Looking at the field.
That's an interesting one.
Look at the field last week.
I haven't done any research yet at all this week.
I would be fine with Hatton as well if you guys wanted
Hideki
to
as well.
pick him instead of Justin Rose, just because like at the end of the day, Tyrrell Hatton is a better golfer than Justin Rose probably. I know Justin's hot and it's a really good course fit, but like it's a really good course fit for Tyrrell Hatton too.
Yeah, I don't know. I could kind of go either way. I mean, the RBC Canadian Open was at a different course last year, I think.
Maybe Ludwig
he was
Abert.
T4.
Oh, that'd be something.
That'd
Go
be
the Rose.
Did we win any money? Do we win money
route?
If he wins, do we win money?
Yeah,
is he still
he's a pro now.
Oh, he's pro now.
No, he's a pro.
He just got his
pro as today.
Yeah. For number 1 PGA Tour U.
Right.
Yeah.
Was U.S. Open qualifying as an AM. That's right. Like yesterday.
Right.
No, I think he was qualifying as a pro. I think he still. I don't think that mattered.
He had the A next to his name. I was watching the coverage.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that.
I'm sure you still win money though on the thing.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I could kind of go either way. I will say, like, just looking at this right now, I kind of went to the U.S. Open field, and we have like 6 guys within the top 30 currently.
Well, we're probably gonna use Brooks. Oh yeah, for the majors we can also.
For the majors, we're using them, but like just like at the end of the day, we need to save at least 2 guys for the end, like the last event.
I say probably Max and probably
like Spieth, maybe.
I think Xander.
Spieth or Xander. Xander. Oh, I'd love Xander at TPC or whatever, FedEx St. Jude, TD South.
He's won at a Tour Championship too.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have Tour Championship's not part of.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay, interesting.
It goes to BMW. So maybe we save Max and Xander because they kind of seem like guys that maybe won't win a major, but.
So we're rolling with Hatton, is what you're saying?
Hatton or Rose.
Yeah, and we also have Matt Fitzpatrick to save for later as well.
Where does Hatton win though? Like, where does Hatton? What kind of? He wins like tough courses though. Like he won
the Arnold Palmer, right?
Yeah, Arnold Palmer.
That's his only win.
Is he good? Is he good at playing on bent?
Yeah, he's like.
I mean, he's probably good at playing it everywhere.
Like the top course fit here.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's chalky, basically.
But who cares about being chalky?
No, yeah, I don't care at this point.
It doesn't matter.
Okay,
Also, at this point,
I'm into it
because guys have been used.
Yeah, I'm into it. We've
All
gotten close to picking Hatton a bunch of times. He's played well basically every time we've gotten close to picking him.
Yeah,
so I'm into it.
I'm not. Believe me, I'm not against that at all. I'm very happy with that.
I think we just try to not overthink it by picking Hatton over Rose.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Again,
he played well.
Did he play well last week? Yeah, for sure. Hatton's played well basically every week this year, I think.
Hatton literally is like top 10 like most events.
Good.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
just
played well at PGA.
Don't lose it.
And top 12 Memorial.
T12, right. T15, T5, T3, T19. Yeah, basically
Hatton's
everywhere except the Valero
like
Texas Open.
7 over the first day of the PGA and still like top 20 or something like that.
He's only missed 1 cut this year.
So I think I like Hatton this week.
Yeah, I'm with it. Rose could be the alternate.
Because he doesn't really seem like someone who wins, but like it's got to happen at some point. And
even if he doesn't win, like we're probably getting a good result out of it.
Yeah,
he's also the kind of guy he wouldn't win a major because he's like mentally he's not good enough. But like his game is rounding a form.
Yeah,
but he's like mentally he's like he won't win a major, so he's just like, all right, I guess like if he wins anything, he's gonna win the RBC Canadian Open.
He finished second in the Players this year. I like kind of forgot about that because I think he came like backdoor, but
Well, I think everyone came backdoor that day.
Everyone
Scotty
came
was
back
up by
I
10.
feel like for like good finishes. Max has
Yeah.
done that the past 2 years.
they set it up way
Hideki
too
this
easy
year
the
as
last
well.
day.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Also, just to mention, Scory probably gonna contend this week.
Oh yeah, home country.
It's a Scory fed course.
Have we,
They
well,
know.
we
They
did,
set it up
we
for
used
him.
Scory at Valero, correct?
Yeah, when he won. So
Yeah.
we used him at his other good course. So I don't think there's anything else.
Canada South is Valero, Texas, or San
Yeah.
Antonio.
Thorn Bjornsson could be fun this week.
Played sick in the qualifier.
Playing?
Yeah.
I think he was like 12 under in his qualifier.
I want to see Gordon Sargent too. That kid's.
Did he
insane.
qualify? I saw that he was
Yeah.
leading.
He shot like, I think he shot like 64, 65.
Yeah.
Like he was just ripping it.
There was some sick qualifying. Like Nick Hardy went 71-61 and qualified.
Wow.
That's insane.
That's 71's almost like don't play your next
Yeah.
round.
Yeah, like you're probably thinking, like it's kind of like a Monday.
Did Joel Damon qualify?
I think he might already
I
be
think
in because I don't think
he
I
was
think he's already in.
Yeah,
because he played well last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or top 10 or something.
Speaking of Joel Damon, the full swing, apparently they were filming as the announcements dropped.
They're filming him.
No, not him, but like someone. They had the cameras rolling when the announcement was dropped today.
Yeah.
On someone, which would be very fun to see.
Very.
What else was I gonna say? Oh, Michael Block party.
What? Oh, he's playing. I thought you were talking about like his U.S. Open qualifying. I was like, I don't care. He didn't qualify, right?
He did not qualify.
Yeah.
And what
got
was it?
kinda
You or
close.
was it?
Too bad.
Was it Greg who said his son broke his driver over his knee during the second round?
Yeah, so they played in different qualifiers too because Block was playing this week, so he moved his qualifier to Canada.
Yeah.
Apparently his son broke his driver over like on like the second hole or something.
That's
I was woke.
There was a 13-year-old kid. 13-year-old played in a qualifier, and he shot like 73, which is pretty good. I mean, he didn't play second round.
The question has to be asked then. Where's Charlie Woods?
Overrated?
Is he?
There's no reason for Charlie Woods to play because he's not going to qualify, and it would just be way like Tiger doesn't want him like in the spotlight like that much. Fair enough.
But it's just like no one mentioned it at all. So it'll be, I don't know.
He won the Hurricane Junior Tour Major by 8 strokes. So Charlie Woods back.
But how many of those juniors are playing in U.S. Open qualifying?
I have no clue.
June 5th. Yeah, that was yesterday.
Anyway, should we get in the clubhouse and the week?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
How's everyone's games doing? Trev, I heard you shot a Psycho 80.
Yeah, that was one of the more wild rounds I've ever had in my life. Very tight course, and then I think it started. I was 1 under through 2, and then double, then chipped in for eagle on hole 7. After hitting it, the driver is amazing. I'm hitting it so far. It's so awesome.
I just haven't really been else driver because that's all
you're at the mall.
Really have to. Been ripping 3-wood recently on the driver holes.
Yeah,
just like not necessary.
No, it's I've talked to you guys so much about how I could one day I want to go out and just with no driver and just 2-iron and see what happens, but I've never done that. By the way, 2-iron's out of the bag right now. It's been very bad, so I'm kind of kicking it to the curb a little bit, which is disappointing. But And then drove the green on a par 4, and had 5 feet for
Drove the green
eagle
on
and
par
missed the
5?
putt. Yeah, par 5. Yeah, missed
Nice.
it. I 3-putted for birdie.
But you 3-putted for par?
No, I 2-putted for birdie.
Okay, there you go.
Don't want to talk about putting.
Yeah,
right
it
now.
was a wild putting was not good, and I lost like 6 balls, but I somehow shot 80, which was good and bad, I guess you could say.
I didn't lose a
Yeah.
ball on Sunday. I used the same ball the entire round. I was proud of
I think
myself.
I lost one on Saturday. Sunday was a different story. But yeah, I don't want to talk about putting. I'm basically on the Scotty Scheffler putting plan right now. It's not going well.
You're like Hideki with the putter, the putter head above the in Finau with the putter. I can't watch Finau do that. Like the putter head,
His is
he's
like
angled like this.
exaggerated bad.
It's
Yeah.
weird.
If you put me
Like
in
that's not you're taught at a very young age. Like that's not how you're supposed to hold the putter.
Yeah.
if you put me and Jeek's games together right now, we'd form quite the golfer.
I will say I could not miss
like
on
you-
Saturday. Saturday was just like I was hitting the ball great, and then Sunday I don't know what happened. Just Sunday I didn't have it, and I think you could say the opposite for you.
Whose
Yeah.
putting is worst, Greg? Yours or Scotty's?
Mine, yeah, definitely mine.
Okay.
I think
Is it
if I
close,
go,
though?
the only thing is if I go somewhere else, I think I'd putt like okay, but for some reason at Silver Mine, I don't have it.
I don't know.
Can't
Could
read the
you
greens.
could you do better than negative 7 point whatever strokes game putting on the Memorial Green?
I don't know. I don't think I'm hitting it quite as close as Scotty is on every hole. So
That'd be very interesting if we
you just place my ball
you-
where Scotty's
still
will
be
be
worse.
on every
you
hole.
place your-
I'd still be worse.
you place your
yes.
ball where Scotty's doesn't see how many
You would
more putts you
100%
make.
be worse.
I mean, yeah,
well,
we
we would. But it'd be-
Silver
it's just
Mine's
fun
so in my head.
hypothetical.
I can't
It's
wait
that
to
bad.
go
That's
to another golf course. Like Silver Mine's just so in my head right now. Even like the 5-foot putts, I hit it on my line and it just does not like churn in, or like I'll hit it on my hit it straight and it would churn like rapidly. So I don't know.
Patrick. I'm about to
Pat's
send you
on
a
it, though.
picture of Bethpage Black.
Okay. Yeah.
Reminder every day.
I need to make that appointment for sure. But yeah, I'll gloss over it. But I think Sunday was the best putting performance of my life.
How many putts did you have? You said you had what, 30?
I actually counted wrong, and it was 28 with 2 3-putts.
Yeah, Pat was just kind of like making like every little like 5-footer that he
Denny
had
McCarthy.
went in. And
Dude, if it
basically,
was like 12 feet and in, I feel like I was making it.
every 5-footer that I had just was like not going in, so it was kind of frustrating. Like if we just put our games together, it would have been pretty solid. But yeah, we're set for a scramble right now. Like we should go play a scramble, and we'll probably be sick. But
Yeah.
whatever.
But I will say,
I wish the 5-man was tomorrow.
Saturday, it was that type of round where I went to the range after the round.
Yeah, I went with him
That's
just
not
to
a good
humor
feeling.
myself.
I kind of turned it around a little bit. I mean, like I still got a little bit of a put or pull / hook, but now it's more just a pull than a hook. It's just a pull and a
That's
draw.
good.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, those once you you hit that bad on one day, you just know all right, you can't hit it worse.
Right.
No,
It's
I had
even
the
if you go to the
opposite
range,
feeling.
you're all right, you find something, then you just go stick with it for a day, and then you're good.
I had the opposite feeling. I hit the ball so well, like even on the range, it was just a stripe show. And yeah, I hit it so well that I couldn't possibly live up to the expectation the next day.
It happens.
All right, that's our longest episode in quite a while. Hour 3 minutes. I can't believe we used to do that every single time.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Life.
Yeah, life for sure. But LIV Golf and the PGA Tour make an exception for us.
Yeah.
I gotta make.
Kind of worked out well that we didn't record yesterday.
Oh no, yeah, we totally would have recorded yesterday if this was last year. We missed
yeah.
every news thing last year.
Oh right, that would have been really bad.
Yeah.
That would have been really bad if we recorded yet. I would be like, I'm not recording. Come on, 2 straight days of an hour. Oh boy, that'd be a lot. But anyway, we'll probably be back next week with a ton of new updates that will be never ending. So
And
enjoy
the US Open.
enjoy in
And
the
the US
US
Open.
Open. Enjoy the RBC for now.